This video is going to go over proportional relationships. We're going to look at story problems and use the information to find out a missing quantity. The first thing we need to look at is in your journal, if you're in my class, you're on page 14. And we're going to go over this first situation. When setting up a proportion, first we need to decide what are the two units we're comparing. Okay, first decide what are your two units, and then we can build our ratio. So this first example, it says you just traveled 40 miles in 30 minutes. How far will you travel in 45 minutes? So our first step is, what are the two things we're comparing? When we look back up here in our first situation, it says we went 40 miles in 30 minutes. So what we're doing is we're comparing miles and minutes. So I'm going to say miles and minutes are my two units that I'm comparing. And at the end of the question, it wants to know how far will we go in 45 minutes. So I'm going to put that. How far in 45 min, and I'll abbreviate that. Okay, now if you look down here, I've started to set up a proportional relationship. A proportion is two fractions or two ratios with an equal sign between. I'm telling myself that miles goes on the top, so all my numbers for miles in my two scenarios will be the numerator, and the amount of time, the minutes, will be the denominator. So in this first situation that I highlighted, when I go back and look at it, it says 40 miles. So I'm going to put that on top. 40 miles. And underneath 30 minutes. And I'll just put MIN. Then the second situation, when you look at it, it says how far in 45 minutes. So the miles, I don't know. That's going to be a question mark. I don't know the miles, but I do know I'm going to drive longer. I'm going to go 45 minutes. So I do know that my answer is going to be bigger than 40 when I finish. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these words right here and just use the numbers. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see better. 40 and 30. And when I don't know, I can put any variable I want. I'm going to put X and 45. So underneath that, it says to solve, we should cross multiply. Step 1. Cross multiply first and then divide. Second step, divide. Before I multiply with these really big numbers, if you have two numbers in the same ratio or fraction and they both end with 0, you could simplify those by just taking away the zeros. So if I did that, now I have 4 over 3 is equal to X over 45. Now the numbers are much, much smaller, and it's going to be easier for me to do this question. So 4 times 45, and that is really hard to read. So let's switch that to another color. 4 times 45, that is 180. Okay, then my next step I said was divide. So this number I'm going to divide with, the one I haven't used yet. So I will do 180 divided by 3, and that is 60. So now I know that my missing number up here, I could go 60 miles in 45 minutes. The second one we're going to look at, this one says 12 gallons of gas cost $30. How much would it cost to get an additional 4 gallons of gas? So when I look at the first situation, I have gallons and dollars. Normally when we compare something like this, we put the money amount on top. So I'm going to put dollars, or you can say cost, and then gallons. Then the second part that we're looking at, it says I need how much will it cost to get 4 gallons of gas is what I'm trying to find. How much money, or let me back it. I'll just say how much will 4 gallons cost. Okay, I'm again going to put my dollars on top. So dollar sign, and then gallons on bottom. So in my first situation, when I go back up here, my money was 30 and my gallons was 12. So I'm going to say $30 makes 12 gallons. Then in the second situation, it says how much will it cost? So I don't know. That's a question mark. But I do know it's 4 gallons. So I can put that down. Question mark on the money, but I do know 4 gallons. Okay, I'm going to scoot this up a little bit so I have some more space. Underneath, I'm just going to use the numbers. I'm going to say 30 over 12 and x over 4. So you could simplify this first ratio or fraction if you want, because this other number is really small. I'm just going to keep it like it is and use it. So first step is cross multiply. Multiply 30 times 4. That makes 120. Step 2 is divide with a number we haven't used yet, so that's 12. So I'm going to put div. And the number we had was 120, and then the number we haven't used yet is 12. So 120 divided by 12 is just 10. Then I can come back up here and I can say that it would cost me $10 to get 4 more gallons of gas. Okay, this last one, there's no fraction set up for us. It says Blair can make 6 dozen cupcakes in 2 hours. How many dozen cupcakes can she make if she has 4.5 hours to bake? So this is going to do more than doubling. So I know this is going to be more than double of 6. When I look at my first situation, it says 6 dozen cupcakes in 2 hours. So I can write that down. Whoops, let's go back to regular pen. 6 dozen cupcakes, 2 hours. And that's supposed to equal the second scenario that we look at. It says how many dozen cupcakes, so we're still in dozens, so I don't have to worry about switching that, can she make if she has 4.5 hours? So I'm going to say question mark on the dozen cupcakes, but she has 4.5 hours. So again, I know it's going to be more than double of 6. I'm going to take the numbers. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit now that we're done reading it, and just use the numbers. 6 over 2 equals x over 4.5. Now these numbers are pretty small, so I can just keep them the way they are. My first step, remember, was a multiply. 6 times 4.5, and that is 27. And then the other number I haven't used yet was 2. That's the number I'm going to divide with. So I have 27 divided by 2, and that is 13.5. So then this missing amount, how many dozen cupcakes? 13.5 dozen cupcakes is the final answer.